The 5th day of our Cold War, I ran into my broke boyfriend, sitting smack in the center spot among a crowd of rich kids. What's this about? You've gotten hooked on this whole Slumdog Millionaire act. The marriage alliance between the Wrong family and the GU family is about to be put on the agenda, right? And you still haven't broken up. Still making excuses. Perfect timing. You guys helped me think it through. That was when I realized that my broke boyfriend was the renowned crown prince of the Wrong group. I decided to give this relationship a dignified ending. So when Rongzi spoke up with a troubled look, my dad fell off the construction site. I don't want to waste your time anymore. I calmly answered, fine. I agree to break up. After sending Rongzi a little makeup message, I pushed open the door to the next private room, only to see a familiar face inside. The recipient of my little message. At that very moment, he was lounging lazily on the sofa, his whole being radiating an innate air of nobility, and around him sat a whole crowd of genuine rich kids. So funny, any random accessory of theirs has way better quality than this watch, right? Isn't that obvious? When has our young master Wrong ever received a gift this ordinary? After a brief stunned moment, I hurriedly lowered my head. Then remembered I was wearing a mask. From the corner of my eye, I glanced at the watch they were talking about. It was the new job gift I gave Rongzi last month. It cost me a full 3-month salary, and was also the reason I took a part-time job at this club. In the very middle of the sofa, Rongzi took a leisurely sip of red wine. It's a light gift, but the sentiment runs deep. You guys don't know a thing. Ha 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 ha. You've really gotten addicted to this Slumdog Millionaire thing, 1-to-1. The marriage alliance between the Wrong and GU families is about to be on the agenda, right? And still no breakup, Rongzi pondered for a moment and shrugged, making excuses now. Perfect, you guys help me think of a reason. You really plan to break up? Why so sudden? Just a few days ago, I didn't hear you mention it. Yunoa wants me to go back to Hucheng with her. Rongzi downed his glass of wine in one go. Oh, back to Hucheng? Don't tell me she wants to take you to meet her family. No wonder. I clenched my palm. A few days ago, my aunt called and asked me to come back to Hucheng. I had a feeling I knew what my aunt wanted to tell me, so I asked Rongzi if he could go back with me. His expression was a bit strange at the time. He didn't say yes, and he didn't say no. Afterward, the two of us argued a little over some small thing, and he left after getting a phone call. He hasn't come home until today, so this was the reason for his Cold War with me. That girl actually wants to take you to meet her family. What a wild fantasy. I've seen that girl before. One day last month, I got off work fairly early. Rongzi picked me up on his electric scooter outside the cheap rental complex where we lived. She was sitting in an extremely flashy convertible. Impossible to miss. Rongzi introduced her to me, saying she was the sister of one of his roommates. I assumed she'd come to see Rongzi about something, so after a quick greeting, I walked off on my own, leaving the two of them there. But before I'd gone far, I heard her faintly mocking voice. You're really something. You can actually stand living in a smelly place like this? I glanced back, and faintly sensed that Rongzi seemed quite close with her, that Liang Yinuo, well, say what you will. She's genuinely pretty. That pure, innocent, first love face. Rongzi, can you really bear to let go? If she weren't pretty, would our young master Wrong leave his mansion empty to live with her in the slums for a year? What are you talking about? What's so pretty about her? You guys have never seen a girl before, have you? Yes. Our Miss Engshu is the prettiest of all. What does Liang Yinuo even have? She just has a slightly better figure than you. Slim and tall. So what if she's good looking? She just keeps fawning over people, that's all. Enough. What, did I say something wrong? Okay, let me be serious. A decent girl wouldn't, with no name or status. Just move in with someone. She's set on using this relationship to climb up. You must never have an unwanted child with her, don't worry. I've never acknowledged a child of uncertain status. My children will only be born to my wife. No one else, ever. Liang Yinuo is no exception. Rongzi's icy cold voice reached my ears. I looked at that man's stern face, feeling dazed. There was one time, my period was late. Could I be pregnant? What's there to worry about? If you're pregnant, just have the baby, hubby will provide, Rongzi said without a shred of hesitation. The two of us laughed and goofed around on the sofa, talking about what the baby would look like, whether it would be a boy or a girl, whether it would take after dad or mom, and then we ended up kissing. In that moment, I had no doubt at all that I would one day marry the man before me and have his children and live a happy, ordinary life together. Yet only a few short months later, that very same man, his icy cold voice was now ringing in my ears. At 10 p.m., I got off work at the club and was surprised to find Rongzae already home waiting for me. Had changed back into the shirts I bought him on some app, the t-shirts that cost 100 won for 3. Why are you back so late? Rongzae leaned in and easily pulled me into his arms as if nothing had happened between us. But I knew he was an incredibly proud Sunder sort. If not for the message ID sent tonight, the little makeup message, he wouldn't have come home this soon. His familiar scent lingered around me. He must have showered. Not a trace of alcohol on him. I paused and replied, work ran late. Rongzae paused for a moment and let me go, his dark eyes gazing deeply at me. What's wrong? You don't seem very happy. We've known each other 2 years and lived together nearly a year, extremely familiar with each other, from just a simple exchange. Head already picked up on my low mood. It's nothing, just a little tired. It'll help you run a bath. Okay. After my bath, Rongzae leaned in to kiss me. Maybe because he was young, he was always so eager. And tireless, I thought of his best. Friend's words. If she weren't pretty, would our young master Rong leave his mansion empty? To live with her in the slums for a year. On the way home earlier, ID searched online for a while. The Rong family's old estate sits in the prime heart of Haicheng, where every inch of land is gold, over 400,000 yuan per square meter. So this boyfriend of mine, whose daily allowance never topped 50 yuan, was actually the crown prince of the Rong group. Over this past year and more, how had he managed to live in this place with rent under 500 yuan a month, this stuffy, cramped little house? Could it really be because of me? Was he simply unwilling to let me go? What's Sis thinking about? My distraction quickly drew a protest from someone. Rongzae is 2 months younger than me. Baby's hungry, sis, go gently. On any other day, I'd have enjoyed this. But today, I just wasn't in the mood. I feel a bit off. Off? Dizzy, it'll take you to the hospital. No need. I just bought you the new job gift the other day. And paid the rent yesterday. I am out of money now. Because Head joined a big company, so he wouldn't look too shabby at work. ID put together a whole set of outfits for him. A suit, shirts, leather shoes, a watch. Rongzae glanced at me and sighed softly. Don't worry, I have money. Where would you get money? Head only just graduated not long ago, and his last internship didn't pay much either. All our money was kept by me. I gave him 50 yuan a day for pocket money. I knew where every bit of his money came from, and where it went. He had no way to explain it to me. I borrowed it from a friend. Why on earth would you borrow money from a friend? I looked at him and deliberately put on a slightly displeased expression. There are still so many things we'll need money for. Buying a house, getting married, having kids, what doesn't cost money? Don't be so free spending. Rongzae's face shifted slightly, a flash of helplessness deep in his eyes. Did you call me back, sis? Just to tell me this? Of course not. I wanted to tell you. I've already bought the tickets back to Hucheng for the day after tomorrow. I bought one for you too, 7 in the morning. Since you're not feeling well, sis, just sleep here on your own. I'll sleep in the next room tonight. I sighed and lay back down on the bed, although I could be certain that Rongzae did like me a little. That bit of affection was nowhere near enough to make him marry me and have children. Since that was the case, it was better not to keep holding each other back. The next morning, I calmly and neatly packed for the trip back to Hucheng. Rongzae watched coldly from the side until I depacked both our bags. And was about to ask him to go downstairs and hail a cab. Rongzae finally called out to me, Yinuo. I have something to tell you I never expected. That the idea his buddies came up with would actually be that his dad fell off a construction site, and that he didn't want to waste my time anymore. This excuse was about as lame as it gets. So much so that when Rongzae said it to me, his face and tone were unnatural to the extreme. What a devoted son to his dad. Making this decision, honestly, I am sad too. This is all my family can offer. I don't want to waste your time anymore. Fine. I agree. Rongzae's voice came to an abrupt stop. He snapped his head up and stared at me in disbelief. What did you say? ID thought too that we aren't really suited to be together. You're not wrong, and neither am I. The only fault is that we're both too poor, with no way to give each other a better life. Better to let each other go, and each find someone with money. After all, you're not bad looking, and neither am I. After we break up, each finding a better off marriage partner should NT be hard. Maybe because I agreed too quickly, neither bursting into tears on the spot, nor tearfully begging him not to break up, Rongzae's face had now gone dark and gloomy. Liang Yinuo, is this what you really mean? Of course it is. At this point, I plan to give this relationship a dignified ending. Although hadn't hidden his identity from me, the 2 years we spent together were happy, no need to end things on bad terms. The air went eerily quiet, since that's how it is. Then, as you wish. You'll move out this afternoon, okay? I opened the suitcase and took out the clothes of his ID just packed in, then remembered something. Oh, right. The wages you used to keep with me, I'll tally them up in a bit and transfer them to you on WeChat. He stared at me without blinking, his gaze even sharper than before. No need. Consider it my compensation to you. Isn't your dad in the hospital? Your family needs money right now. I should just transfer it to you. Rongzi's expression froze, and for a while he couldn't speak. My phone buzzed. The ride-hailing car ID booked had arrived. As I stepped out the door, an exasperated voice came from behind me. Liang Yingyuo. You'd better not regret this someday. What a thing to say. Whether I regret it or not, isn't he the one set on breaking up with me? I had a pretty good idea why my aunt wanted me back in Hucheng. Shed called several times asking me to come back, so I guessed it probably had to do with my cousin. Sure enough, my aunt started probing me. Xiao Nuo. Didn't you say you had a boyfriend? Why didn't you bring him along this time? We broke up. Why did you break up? Incompatible personalities, I suppose. I made up a random excuse. My aunt comforted me a little, then cleared her throat. Xiao Nuo. I hadn't wanted to bring this up, but since you've broken up with your boyfriend, it doesn't hurt to mention it. You're all grown up now anyway. Just as ID expected, my aunt wanted me to go on a blind date, at first I thought. She wanted me to meet my cousin's ex-fiancé, to see if the marriage alliance between our families could still be arranged. But it turned out my blind date this time was the young heir of the Liu group. I was quite surprised. I hadn't expected my uncle's business to have grown so big that he could connect with the Liu family. But the real question was, would the other side even be interested in me? After all, I am not my aunt's biological daughter. Then my aunt hesitated for a moment and added a few more reasons. I finally understood the situation. It turned out the young master of the Liu family had a car accident last year. His life was saved, but his injuries were so severe he still has to use a wheelchair. Although the Liu family is a top-tier wealthy family, the young master's legs are disabled after all, so no matter how much the big families want to curry favor with the Lius, they won't push their own daughters into the fire pit. Of course, I am just asking your opinion. If you don't want to, forget it. I just feel this might be an opportunity. Maybe an outsider hearing this would think my aunt was consumed by greed, wanting to push me, her niece, into the fire pit, but I knew she wasn't, because she'd risen up the very same way. My aunt is very beautiful, a full forehead, delicate skin, the kind of stunning beauty with both looks and grace. A breathtaking, city-toppling beauty. My aunt, at 22, right after she graduated from college, married my uncle. My uncle was a full 15 years older than her and had had 2 wives before, but his family was well off, owning 2 companies, while my grandfather's side of the family had gradually fallen into decline, and my grandparents heavily favored sons over daughters, channeling almost all resources to their sons. My aunt, being a daughter, was the typical case of being unloved by both parents. She saw my uncle as a stepping stone to leap forward in life, so she seized it without hesitation. After marrying my uncle, my aunt entered the family company, starting from grassroots sales, climbing up steadily step by step. She had a talent for business and a shrewd hand. Within a few years, she grew the group's business bigger and bigger, and her own worth rose right along with it. Later, my uncle stepped back behind the scenes, handing the group's business entirely over to my aunt, and my aunt successfully turned her life around through marriage, crossing class boundaries. Probably because of her own example, that's why she advised me this way. I agreed to my aunt without much thought. It's just a blind date anyway. If I am not into it, it'll just go through the motions. Besides, he might not even be interested in me. I sat in the cafe for a while, seeing no sign of anyone at the door. I went to the restroom. When I came back from the restroom, I noticed a wheelchair had appeared across from my seat. A young man sat in the wheelchair. Sharp brow bones, striking features and thin lips, an extremely handsome face. I walked over. Hello? Liu Jian looked up with charming, deep peach blossom eyes. He sized me up slightly and curved into a faint smile. So the eldest Miss Liang would show up too. To go on a blind date with a stranger, I paused. That's right. I did know this young master of the Liu family. We were schoolmates, and even sat at the same desk for a while. On a summer afternoon, Liu Jian, I like you. The result, of course, was a brutal rejection. And in front of a whole crowd of onlookers, no less, I had pretty thick skin back then, and didn't feel the least bit embarrassed. How could such an unattainable flower be plucked so easily? If he were that easy to chase, then he wouldn't be Liu Jian. No one knew better than I did how popular he was with girls. After my confession was rejected, it actually fired up my fighting spirit. From then on, I chased him even harder. I chased Liu Jian for a full 3 years, asking around about all his likes, giving him CDs he liked to listen to, baking the cakes he liked to eat, running into him by chance at the basketball court he often went to. Even every time I went to the cafeteria, I'd eagerly plop down right next to him every weekend, using studying as an excuse. I'd go to his house and stay half the day. So much so that the Liu family's old butler and all the housekeepers got very familiar with me until one day, a transfer student came to our class. She also launched a fierce pursuit of Liu Jiayan. Every weekend, copying me, she'd go to the Liu house, begging Liu Jiayan to tutor her. At mealtimes in the school cafeteria, I'd sit on Liu Jiayan's left, and she'd sit on his right. When he played ball, I'd bring Liu Jiayan a drink. And she'd bring one too. It disgusted me to no end. I didn't want to stay this passive, so I asked Liu Jiayan, who had choose between me and the transfer student. Liu Jiayan said coldly, "I choose neither. You two had better both stay away from me." In that moment, I realized he really had no feelings for me, and I truly didn't want to keep competing with the transfer student, like in some endless contest. So I gave up on Liu Jiayan. After that day, I stopped paying him any attention at all. We became like strangers at school, not exchanging a single word. Before long, our family not only suffered investment failures, the household situation took a sharp downturn. My mother frowned all day long, often grieving in secret, and kept bringing up the idea of separating. A heavy, oppressive atmosphere hung over the whole house. I worried endlessly day and night, and my studies plummeted. On the midterms, I dropped straight to the bottom of the class. That day, Liu Jiayan suddenly came to me, speaking in a stiff tone. "Qiao Rui and I are just ordinary classmates, nothing more." Qiao Rui was the transfer student in our class. I was totally confused. "Whatever's going on between you two, what does it have to do with me?" Liu Jiayan's expression stiffened, his tone a bit awkward. "Come to my house this weekend. It'll help you catch up on your studies." The sun really rose in the west this time. Liu Jiayan actually offered to tutor me, but I was in no mood for it at all. No need. Seeing me refuse, Liu Jiayan's face darkened. He looked at me quietly for a long time and finally turned and left. The days passed one by one. My state got worse and worse. My unit test scores slipped again. My homeroom teacher talked to me several times, urging me to pull myself together and put my mind back on studying, but I just couldn't muster any spirit. I gradually realized the conflict between my parents was irreconcilable. They'd grown terribly distant, and the once warm home slowly lost its old self. I felt utterly helpless, with no one to confide in. Just then, Liu Jiayan came to me again, his tone unusually earnest and insistent. "Yang Yino? Same as before, 8 a.m. Saturday. Come to my house and we'll study together." "Liu Jiayan, what exactly do you want?" "I don't need your help. Can you stop bothering me?" His face darkened with anger, staring straight at me. He, who'd been doted on like a star since childhood, had never been talked back to like this, and got angry for a moment, and so the two of us fell into a cold war, neither willing to back down first. Then misfortunes struck one after another. Our family fortunes collapsed completely. My father, worn down by years of overwork, finally left us forever. Afterward, my mother started a new family, and I moved in to live with my aunt. After that, we never saw each other again. Not until today did the two of us run into each other here. I rubbed my nose a bit awkwardly. "How about I treat you to coffee today, as my apology to you?" It was my fault for failing to recognize good intentions, for not seeing the kindness in your heart. No need. I don't accept rewards I haven't earned. I have my pride too. Looks like today's blind date is going to fall through. I put on a smile. "Have you been well these years, as you can see?" Oh God, my big mouth. I felt a pang of regret. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Liu Jiayan's face stayed perfectly composed. "It's not your fault. Why don't we just wrap this up quickly? It's rather awkward. A moment earlier, ID messaged a close friend on WeChat, asking her to call me in 20 minutes. The coffee ID ordered had arrived. Liu Jiayan wasn't the type to start conversations on his own, to avoid an awkward silence. I racked my brain and came up with 2 topics. After 20 minutes, my friend's call finally came through. I hung up like I'd been granted a pardon. "Sorry, I have something to deal with today. Why don't we meet another day?" Liu Jiayan stared at me intently. "You're leaving." The emotion in his eyes, hard to read. My roommate's got something going on. As I prepared to stand up, the coffee cup on the table somehow tipped over, and the half cup of coffee I hadn't finished spilled all over the tabletop and onto Liu Jiayan's shirt. I was startled. "Are you okay?" Back in our school days, I knew this young master was a serious neat freak. Now this was real trouble. Sure enough, Liu Jiayan knitted his brows and looked at the stain on his chest with obvious disgust. "I need to shower and change clothes. Can you drive me part of the way?" I was taken aback. "How did you get here just now?" "Where's your uncle?" "He had urgent business and left first." I didn't think too much in the moment, so I just agreed for now. Liu Jiayan didn't go back to the old mansion, but had me take him to a hillside villa in the suburbs. There was no one in the villa, but everywhere was clean and tidy. I wheeled Liu Jiayan to the ground floor bathroom. "Can you grab me a change of clothes?" "Where?" "Upstairs on the 2nd floor. In the wardrobe." I had no choice but to do as told. I took a change of clothes from the wardrobe in the upstairs room and came down to see Liu Jiayan unfastening his shirt cuffs. I figured it might be a bit inconvenient for him. "Need some help." Liu Jiayan's movements paused slightly. He lightly raised an eyebrow. his peach blossom eyes rippling like pool water under the light. Sure, ID only asked offhandedly, didn't expect him to actually agree. Dazed, I walked over and held out a hand. Lu Jian, leaning on my arm, slowly stood up from the wheelchair. He could actually stand up. I was a bit surprised. After undoing his cufflinks, he went on to undo the buttons on his chest. Since the two of us were standing so close, my face grew slightly warm. It was a little awkward, but I soon had no time to feel awkward, because I discovered this young master actually had pecs, and his abs weren't bad either. Didn't expect that even sitting in a wheelchair all day, his figure was still pretty good. I steadied myself and handed over the bathrobe. I couldn't find a shirt. Only a robe. Lu Jian's gaze lingered on my face. Only then did I realize he seemed to have grown much taller than in middle school, at least over 185, maybe more. His clear, low voice sounded, and only then did I notice had already taken his shirt off, broad shoulders, narrow waist, well-defined muscles, a beautiful V-line. I couldn't imagine how good his figure had been. Before the accident, I stood outside the door fiddling with my phone for a while until I heard the shower inside stop. Honestly, I was a little afraid he'd fall. That would be no joke. Luckily, nothing went wrong. The door opened. Lu Jian had already put on the bathrobe and was sitting in the wheelchair, his face damp, water still dripping from the ends of his hair. Could you grab the hairdryer for me? The noise of the hairdryer nicely covered the awkwardness between us. Halfway through drying his hair, I noticed Lu Jian watching me. What is it? Nothing. Walking into the living room, I noticed it was raining outside. Lu Jian took out his phone. I'll have Uncle Wang drive you back. Didn't you say he had something to deal with and went home? Lu Jian paused. Never mind that. He should be back soon, even after all these years apart. Uncle Wang recognized me. At first glance, he greeted me cheerfully. Miss Yunuo, you've grown up so much. Running into an elder I hadn't seen in years. I was quite happy too, Uncle Wang, after all these years. You look the same as ever. Not at all. Not at all. You've grown up and we've grown old. I exchanged a few pleasantries with Uncle Wang and was about to head to the parking lot with him, Liang Yinuo. The living room fell silent for a moment. Uncle Wang suddenly caught on. Miss Yinuo, I'll wait for you in the car. Lu Jian pressed a button and the wheelchair quickly came up in front of me. I've been doing rehab lately. This out-of-nowhere remark left me frozen in place. What? You saw for yourself just now. I can already stand up on my own. The doctor said if the rehab goes smoothly, my legs could recover within 2 years. I hope you'll think it over carefully. Don't decide so quickly. I still didn't get it. Think over what? Lu Jian looked up at me. The matchmaking thing. Oh, so that's what he meant. I finally understood what he was saying. No need to think it over. If you're willing, I am willing. Lu Jian's reaction lagged several beats behind. You won't regret it? Of course not. No regrets. Then it settled. That night when I got home, my aunt was on the phone. I don't know what the person on the other end said, but her expression was full of surprise. After hanging up, Xiao Nuo, where did you go for your matchmaking date today? Nowhere special, just a coffee shop. Lu family just called, asking if you could get engaged before the end of the year. Engaged before year end. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be so soon either, but on second thought, early marriage across generations seemed to be a Lu family tradition. Back in 7th grade, I often went to the Lu family's old mansion to have Lu Jian tutor me the first time I met Madame Lu. I finally understood the true meaning of stunningly beautiful. She was extraordinarily beautiful, exactly like the kind of character from a 1990s Hong Kong drama, a real beauty, and she looked very, very young. I once took her for Lu Jian's sister. Only later did I learn Madame Lu in her senior year of college, that is, at 21. Had married Lu Jian's father. It was then that I realized the Lu family all married young. After learning that, I got pretty excited for a while. Lu Jian. In that case, I'd only need to wait 8 years to marry you. Surprised? Shocked? Lu Jian rolled his eyes at me. Could you be any more shameless, hubby Sarangkai? I happily went along with it, thinking back to my childhood. I couldn't help feeling wistful. This was probably fate. Young Master Lu, this lofty, unattainable flower, had finally been picked by me, this young Master Lu. Even though a car accident last year left his legs impaired, plenty of people who'd wanted to climb up to the Lu family and marry into them had failed. I didn't expect that at your very first meeting, the Lu family would actually propose a year-end engagement. How strange. I figured this called for some explaining. Auntie, actually, Lu Jian and I are classmates. She widened her eyes, caught off guard. Elementary and middle school classmates. My aunt fell silent for a moment, then seemed to realize something. Did young Master Lu used to like you? I shook my head. He never liked me. Rather, I used to like him. I chased after him for several years. But he never said yes, silly girl. My aunt smiled. The two of us chatted for a while. Then my aunt said, since you plan to build your career in Hucheng, should NT you quit your current job? Speaking of which, I thought I really did need to find time to quit my job in Haicheng and give up the place I'd been renting. My aunt patted my head and sighed softly. Back when you graduated, I asked you to come help at the company, but you stubborn girl just wouldn't listen. Now that you've had enough of life in the big city, it's time to come back to Hucheng, right? My old way of thinking really was naive. Because I didn't want to owe my aunt too much, I thought I should go out and make my own way after graduating, and after I met Rong Z, I wanted to come back even less. Looking back now, it was really melodramatic. In Hucheng, I have family and close friends, and classmates I'd known since childhood, but I just had to be stubborn, staying in a place where I knew no one, cramped in a room that cost a few $100 a month, working several jobs, supporting a boyfriend who pretended to be poor every single day, serves me right. Whatever. I'd already broken up with Rong Z. Anyway, there was really nothing in Haicheng worth holding on to, so I'll move back. It only took me half a day to get most of the rentals things sorted out. Then I gave notice to the landlady. Before leaving Haicheng, I arranged a farewell dinner with 2 close friends. While waiting for a table outside the restaurant, a man walked past me, his steps abruptly halting. Liang Yinuo, I looked at him, stunned for a moment, then suddenly remembered. This man was one of the guys in the private room that day. He had to be one of Rong Z's childhood friends, though I figured he didn't really know me. I am a friend of Rong Z's. Right, we met at Haicheng University. With that, it started to ring a bell, back in Rong Z's senior year. I once went to his school to see him, and this man seemed to be one of them. I forced a polite smile. Hello, are you here waiting for Rong Z? He seems to have quit his job. Only then did I remember that the big building across the way was indeed the company Rong Z used to work at. Want me to give him a call? This guy hiding from his girlfriend all the time? What's that about? This man probably didn't know Rong Z had broken up with me and was waiting to watch the drama. I was a bit speechless and also found it funny. After thinking it over, I decided to go along with him. Really? No wonder I waited here for him for days and never saw him. The private room was noisy. A bunch of bored men, some playing cards, others talking business. Only Rong Z sat on the sofa, not joining in anything, glancing at his phone now and then. Rong Z, why do I feel like you've been out of it these past few days? You didn't fall for that girl, did you? Someone had sharp ears. Fall for which girl? Who else? Yang Yinuo, of course. You know what? Our young Master Rong really has been off these past few days, staring at his phone day and night. He is about to turn into Hua Zele. Could you be any more ridiculous? Hua Zele? I am more like Dao Mingxi. If you ask me, young Master Rong is pretty heartless too. If it were me, I couldn't bear to break up with Liang Yinuo. That girl is so striking. Fair skin too, legs longer than life, and most importantly, utterly devoted to her boyfriend. She'd rather work 3 jobs a day to buy her boyfriend watches and gaming gear. Where would you ever find a girlfriend like that? And what's the use? Even if she worked 10 jobs a day, she'd never make it through the Rong family's door. This girl has some backbone too. She didn't even make a scene with you over the breakup. Rong Z, your charm must be slipping. Her game is high level, turning the passive into the active, deliberately giving you the cold shoulder for a while, just waiting for you men to take the bait. Jiang Anyu gave a cold snort, completely confident. It's nothing but waiting for the guy to give in first. The moment the guy ignores her, she'll come knocking immediately. Just you wait. No way, what kind of person do you take Liang Yinuo for? Rong Z just felt inexplicably irritated, and these people happened to be especially annoying, each one buzzing around him like flies. Are you done yet? Nobody'll think you're mute if you shut up, young Master Rongs. Mood was running pretty dark today, better to say less. The phone buzzed. The screen showed Zhu Jingyu. Rong Z, oddly disappointed, picked up, then, in an impatient tone, what is it, young Master Rong? Didn't you tell Liang Yinuo you'd quit? That girl's been at your company's door, waiting for several days now. These words were like a gust of cold wind that made Rong Z's whole body shiver. He instantly sat up straight. You mean Liang Yinuo? What did I just say? Now you all believe it, right? Rong Z, if you go today, get ready to be Liang Yinuo's cash cow for life. Completely under her thumb, never able to turn things around again. Young Anya's words were like a clap of muffled thunder that froze him on the spot. Rong Z sat on the sofa, silent for a long while, and finally steeled himself, coldly telling Zhou Jinyu, I am completely done with her. Tell her to stop looking for me. I won't see her again. The man hung up the phone and looked at me a little guiltily. Sorry. This guy really is heartless. The people who had just finished eating were coming out of the restaurant. My table should be ready soon. Anyway, since the act has gone this far, I might as well finish the show. I wiped the corner of my eye, brushing away non-existent tears, then sniffled, putting on a heartbroken look. Fine. Please pass this on to Rong Z. I won't look for him anymore. The man just looked at me with a deep, meaningful gaze, hesitating to speak, then said, "Miss Liang, how about we add each other on WeChat? If there's anything I can help with, you can come to me too. No need." I never want to see Rongzi again, and I don't want to see his close friends either. After returning to the city, I began dating Lu Jian with marriage as the premise. Maybe this is the upside of blind dates. Both sides have clear intentions. No dragging things out at all. Seeing Mrs. Lu again after so many years, she had only grown more stunningly beautiful, so the one on a blind date with our Jiayan is little Nuomi. I was wondering why this kid suddenly came around and brought up marriage himself. Being so close to such a beauty, my heart was pounding wildly. I never expected a day like this. That I'd actually, because of my own future, with my future mother-in-law standing so close, have my heart racing. Auntie Lu, long time no see. It's been years. Little Nuo has grown up. Calling her a beauty, I felt a little sheepish. Probably not many women would dare call themselves a beauty in front of her. Have you seen the house at Blue Moon Bay? How about making it your wedding home? Of course, if you don't like the English style, Auntie will hire a crew to redecorate. Known for a long time, that the plot at Blue Moon Bay was bought by Lu Jian's grandfather years ago, specifically to build a wedding home for his grandson. It's not far from the old Lu family residence. So after chatting with Auntie Lu, I dragged Lu Jian and drove straight to Blue Moon Bay. The house was even bigger than I imagined. Classic European style and surrounded by woods. With a lake and a stable and an orchard too, it made you fall in love in a second. Living here would be amazing. I couldn't wait to ask Lu Jian, "Can I move in right now?" He looked up, gazing at me, surprised his once calm, indifferent eyes rippled at those words. And even his voice carried a heart full of tenderness. "Of course you can. Wonderful." The next morning I moved in. Then Lu Jian moved in too. There's probably no blind date. Couple more efficient than us. Only 2 weeks after meeting, wed entered a trial marriage. My life got on track. Every morning, I went with Lu Jian to work at Luce International, and in the afternoon, I went with him to rehab at the hospital. Lu Jian's rehab was going well. From barely being able to stand at first, to now being able to walk on his own, a distance of 2 or 3 meters. Barring any surprises, he should be able to ditch the wheelchair before our wedding. After living together, I gradually noticed that the Lu Jian now and the Lu Jian from childhood were really quite different. As a child, he had little patience, and whenever I forced conversation against his wishes, he had just tossed me aside and ignored me. But the grown-up Lu Jian had indeed become much more approachable. No matter how much I talked, he never showed the slightest impatience or annoyed look. Sometimes when I fell silent, he wasn't used to it, and would even bring up a topic himself, even when I teased him. He no longer, like in childhood, shot me an annoyed, speechless eye roll. That day, coming back from rehab at the hospital, since head sweated quite a bit, I joked with Lu Jian, "How about I come in and help you wash up?" And Lu Jian actually replied, "Sure," without batting an eye. Such a smooth, shameless attitude. Made an old hand like me blush bright red, and I ended up scurrying off. That a person could change so much was really strange. If I'd been before, Lu Jian would surely have mocked me. Your skin could be even thicker, learning that Lu Jian and I had both moved into Blue Moon Bay. Mrs. Lu planned to arrange a few live-in housekeepers to take care of our daily needs, but Lu Jian refused. We can manage on our own. Early one morning, I'd just come downstairs when I saw Lu Jian making breakfast in the kitchen. The sight startled me. Who'd have thought the pampered young master would one day cook for himself? The sun really had risen in the west. Young Master Lu had made sandwiches and fried eggs, only he was hiding something. Deliberately keeping one hand at his side, I realized something, and grabbed his wrist without a word. The back of his hand was scalded red over a large patch. My heart clenched, and I quickly pulled Lu Jian to the sink to rinse the burn. "You don't know how to do this. Let's hire a housekeeper to cook tomorrow. No need." A few more times, and he'll get the hang of it. I found it odd. Why he wouldn't let a housekeeper move in. Lu Jian was silent for a moment, then said firmly, "I only want to live with you. Just the two of us." Watching young Master Lu so stubbornly resolute, it really was a rare sight. Even someone as cold and arrogant as Lu Jian would one day grovel to win a woman over. My mood instantly soared. "Lu Jian, when exactly did you fall for me?" His breathing paused, his eyes lowered slightly. His tone heavy with sorrow. "I am not sure. Anyway, long ago I went to your home looking for you, but your neighbor said relatives had taken you away. I am sorry. I didn't know that back then so much had happened to your family. If only I'd noticed sooner, or asked you, maybe it wouldn't have come to what happened afterward. That my family fell to such an end can't be blamed on anyone. Don't be silly, it had nothing to do with you." I cut off Lu Jian's words and stroked his face. The sudden, intimate gesture made us both go still. Lu Jian gazed at me intently, the depths of his dark eyes like a pool of clear spring water. He took my hand and pressed a soft kiss to it. A charged tenderness spread between us, as if compelled. I leaned in and kissed his lips. Lu Jian wrapped his arm around my waist, and we began to kiss. How to describe this feeling? It's like after going around in a big circle in life. You run into, from your youth, the handsome, beautiful first love of your younger days. And this first love tells you tenderly that Head liked you for a very long time, and had been waiting for you all these years. Who could withstand that? I sure couldn't. That night, he and I talked heart to heart all night in the room. Young Master Lu seemed a little reserved, a bit at a loss facing this kind of closeness. Given that his legs weren't very mobile now, I slowed things down on my own. ID finally started living the life ID dreamed of in my youth. That is, teasing Lu Jiayan intimately at night, often teasing him until his eyes reddened, glistening with tears. Such a gentle, soft, adorable, and docile young Master Lu truly delighted my heart. In just 10 short days together, ID already grown to crave this warm companionship. Too bad some calls always came at the wrong time, especially calls from my ex-boyfriend. What to do? I hung up without a second thought, of course. Sorry, the number you dialed is powered off. Followed by a string of English. Rongze's brow furrowed. After a moment, he opened WeChat. Anyway, the next second, the chat box popped up. You are not yet this user's friend. He stared at those 2 lines and suddenly laughed in anger to think that today had finally found himself an excuse. To come to the place the 2 of them had rented, Liang Yinuo had really given him quite a surprise. Fine, never add me back as long as you live. Rongzi slammed down on the gas pedal. The sports car in the late-night alley let out a huge roar and sped away. Mother brought up the marriage alliance with the Jiyu family again. Rongzi thought of being blocked by Liang Yinuo and deleted. His heart felt blocked by something. Who can't live without whom? Then his blind date with Jiyu Shinru went smoothly. The Jiyu family was an old, established noble clan in the city. The 2 families were longtime family friends, though contact had been distant in recent years. Jiyu Shinru was gentle and lovely, with a well-proportioned figure, and a sweet, delicate voice, the standard sweet type. That day, he went shopping with Jiyu Shinru. Jiyu Shinru took a liking to a bracelet, and he swiped his card. Without thinking, after paying, it suddenly hit him that in nearly 2 years, with Liang Yinuo, never given her any gifts because the poor guy image Head built in front of her had been too successful, Liang Yinuo wouldn't let him buy anything for her, and even monitored every cent he spent, many times. Rongzi wanted to spoil his girlfriend with money. He wanted to buy Liang Yinuo bags, necklaces, clothes, take her abroad, buy a big flat so they'd live more comfortably. He wanted a new AC so the rented place wouldn't be so hot on summer nights. But he couldn't do that, because if he did, Liang Yinuo would surely ask where the money came from. He couldn't explain, and it would raise her suspicions, so he had to drop it. When the 2 first met, Rongzi was still a college sophomore, Liang Yinuo was a junior, working part-time at a cafe. At their first meeting, her charming, sweet smile nearly melted him, his head buzzing with just one thought, that he had to get to know her. Conveniently, the cafe had a hiring ad posted outside, so Rongzi went to interview without a second thought. The interview went well, not long after starting work. Rongzi discovered the cafe manager was also pursuing Liang Yinuo. Men are always good at sizing up the enemy. After sensing Rongzi's intentions, the manager started targeting him. Later, he gradually realized every time the manager targeted him, Liang Yinuo would take his side. Maybe women tend to side with the underdog, so Rongzi gradually used this. To win Liang Yinuo's sympathy, the manager was furious. But the more he targeted him, the closer Liang Yinuo got to him. And so, with the manager's unwitting help, Rongzi successfully won over his goddess. But because of this, Liang Yinuo always assumed he was a flat-out poor kid. Once you tell the first lie, you have to patch it with countless more. After they started dating, Liang Yinuo's use of money was taken to the extreme. Every expense carefully calculated. Rent, water, electricity, every expense pinched to the penny, wishing to stretch 1 yuan into 5. When she learned Head found a good internship, Liang Yinuo finally splurged for once. Big companies care most about personal image. You mustn't, by dressing too shabbily, be looked down on or disliked by colleagues. Actually, even the items Liang Yinuo carefully picked out weren't necessarily to Rongzi's taste. But thinking those things were bought by Liang Yinuo, Rongzi figured they weren't so bad after all. Rongzi's thoughts drifted far until Jiyu Shinru called to him, and he barely snapped back to himself. Somehow, he suddenly had the urge to find Liang Yinuo and confess everything. He should bring Liang Yinuo before his mother. Maybe mother would like her. Liang Yinuo was beautiful, with a good personality, but even if mother agreed. What about father? One hurdle after another. On Friday, Jiyu Shinru visited the Rong home. She had once heard Mrs. Rong mention she liked lychees. Auntie, do you like lychees? Let's go pick lychees this weekend. My cousin's orchard had a bumper lychee harvest this year. We can't possibly pick them all. Hearing this, auntie, without waiting for her son to speak, immediately accepted on his behalf. Rongzi was speechless. He knew both families were eager to push his marriage with Jiyu Shinru. But honestly, he hadn't made up his mind at all about whether he should keep developing things. With Jiyu Shinru, after all, had just broken up with Liang Yinyo and was in no mood to get married or anything. Now, he even subconsciously resisted being alone with Jiyu Shinru. Just then Chen Yanzhou called. Rongzhe, what are your plans? This weekend I heard you're heading to Huxi. Let me tag along for the fun. Rongzi thought about it. I have friends who'd like to come too. Is that okay? Sure. Come along. The more the merrier. The whole group still assumed Jiyu Xinru's cousin lived in the countryside with a hill of lychee trees. We should be almost there, right? Probably the kind of lychee hill behind some village. But when the car drove into the Huxi district, past 2 heavily guarded security checkpoints, and arrived at a private estate, then past a golf course and a natural lake, the group finally realized they'd misunderstood. Finally, the car stopped before an English-style castle. This was the famous Blue Moon Bay. They were supposed to greet the host first. My cousin and his fiancée are at home right now. Let's just head to the back hill, passing by a horse ranch. Sis, does your cousin have a sister? I could marry into the family, has begging for a beating, you little punk, dreaming of the good life, huh? Are you guys sick or what? Stop blurting out nonsense. Who's a sister-in-law? Has Rongzi even admitted it? Everyone knew her feelings for Rongzi, so no one said a word. Halfway through picking lychees, Jiyu Shinru took a call. Seemingly her cousin had returned. Out of politeness, the group felt, it'd be better to go greet the host first, so they headed back. Just as they reached the lakeside, they spotted a black SUV. Once the car stopped, the driver opened the rear door. Everyone was slightly surprised. The man in the wheelchair looked very young, roughly the same age as them. No one knew what had happened to cause his impaired mobility. From the back seat stepped a woman in a long dress, her hair tousled by the wind. The woman pushed the wheelchair forward, then stopped after a short distance. The man took her hand. She crouched down and said something to him, clearly acting coquettish. Then the two began to kiss, an incredibly sweet scene. Caught off guard, the group was force-fed a round of PDA. My cousin and his fiancée are getting engaged. They're sweet as honey every single day. You'll get used to it. After a moment, the couple finally finished kissing. Only then did everyone dare approach. Jiyu Shinru began introducing the two sides. The woman tucked her hair behind her ear, revealing a small, palm-sized face, with delicate features and picturesque brows and eyes. But Rongzi, calm and composed a second ago, suddenly changed color upon seeing her face clearly. He stared fixedly at the woman across from him, his face as if coated with a layer of frost. And beside him, Chen Yanzhou and Zhou Jinyu were even more horrified looks, stunned expressions, as if they'd seen a ghost. When I saw Rongzi, I was a bit dazed too. What's going on? How could he be here? My cousin, Lu Jiayan, his fiancée, Liang Yinuo. This is Rongzhe, and his close friends. It dawned on me belatedly that Rongzhe was Jiyu Shinru's arranged marriage match. What a coincidence. Just my rotten luck. You've all had a tiring trip. It's quite a drive from this city. Hello, Mr. Lu. My name is Lin Yan. I am Xinruo's friend. Hello, Mr. Lu. My name is Zhou Jinyu. I am Rongzhe's friend. Only Rongzhe stood frozen in place, staring fixedly at me. After the greetings, it's sunny out. Shall we head inside? This scene was a battlefield for me too. I really didn't know how to handle it. For the moment, I could only flee for now, and pushed Lu Jian's wheelchair into the living room. Ugh, is this guy's eye that sharp? There's no hiding it anyway. So I bit the bullet and admitted hes. My ex-boyfriend, Lu Jian, nodded, looking unsurprised. Are you angry? I am sorry. I didn't know he'd be here either. Lu Jian sighed and held my hand. Silly, I am not that petty. I just worried you'd mind. Mind what? That I am in a wheelchair. I leaned forward and covered Lu Jian's mouth. The two of us were very close. Just inches apart. What are you thinking? You're my white moonlight. No one can replace your place in my heart. He pursed his lips and pressed a kiss to my palm that made it tingle. Yeah, didn't you know? Lu Jian chuckled softly, his eyes curving into a smile. You're the one who's my white moonlight, the one I've longed for over the years, my matchless white moonlight, such a smooth talker. Tonight, I'll reward you with 100 candies, Lu Jian thought seriously for a moment. That's too many. Can it be for deal? I knew Rongzhe would surely come confront me, but I didn't expect him to be so bold. He actually waited until no one was looking, and went straight upstairs to corner me. His face was dark and gloomy. Liang Yinuo, don't you think you owe me an explanation? I found it rather funny. Explain what? We've already been broken up for 2 months. We've only been broken up for 2 months. Don't worry. My boyfriend and I have only been together a month and a half. I never did anything to wrong you. Rongzhe nearly gritted his teeth. Should I praise you then, for starting a new relationship so fast? It wasn't that rushed. There was half a month in between, wasn't there? You were in such a hurry to choose him. Did you seriously consider the future together, and the practical problems? ID originally hoped we could part on good terms, no need to turn ugly, but since he was being so rude, it's none of your concern. We get along just fine. Rong's pupils contracted sharply, his face deathly pale. After a long while, in a trembling voice, he asked me, utterly crestfallen, "You're already together with him?" "That's none of your business. Don't forget, we've already broken up. And my boyfriend and I are about to get engaged. This is the last time I'll speak with you alone. I hope you understand and know when to stop." Downstairs, the group recalled that earlier scene, everyone sighing. Liang Yunuo's really something. Just broke up with Rongze and landed the heir of the Lu group. How does that saying go again? Never underestimate a pretty girl. You never know what kind of man she'll meet the next day. Truly words of wisdom. That still takes real talent, though. Others all said Liang Yunuo was shrewd and clever, always just wanting a stable life.